Quito, Ecuador stands out as one of the most visually stunning cities on the planet. Every direction offers a breathtaking view, each angle inviting further exploration and curiosity. This collection of experiences was challenging to curate due to the sheer abundance of sights and activities in this city of panoramas and rich colonial history. Join me as we explore the streets of Quito, both historic and off the beaten path. We'll ascend into the mountains, visit historic indigenous towns, enjoy the vibrant salsa and bachata nightlife, tour numerous museums and churches, and wander through some of Latin America's most beautiful parks. If you enjoy this journey, don't forget to like and subscribe. My journey began with an extremely early 8-hour flight from Canada to Quito, starting at 4 a.m. The formulaic, grid-like structure of Canadian cities gave way to lush, puffy white clouds, eventually arriving at the organically grown, esoteric roadways of Latin America. Upon landing, I quickly purchased a SIM card and hailed an Uber to navigate through Quito's chaotic traffic. Exhausted from the journey, I checked into my apartment and just decided to relax after a long journey.
Muchas gracias, Julio.
Ya.
¿Dónde estamos?
En Quito, Ecuador.
Gracias, Julio.
Bienvenido.
One of the perks of Quito is its incredibly affordable rent compared to North American standards. My spacious apartment in the rapidly growing Parque Carolina neighborhood cost about $600 per month. The following day, I hopped into an Uber and made my way down from the developed Parque Carolina neighborhood down towards the more historic Quito center. Here, I would meet with backpackers making their way through Ecuador. Safety is always a concern in Latin America, so joining a large group was essential for my first outing in Quito. Moreover, our tour guide provided fascinating insights into the city's rich history.
Police, no, it can't, okay, because what happened? Go to 5 seat higher than...
Our first stop was the Basilica del Voto Nacional, or the Basilica of the National Vow. The tour guide gave us a brief history of this magnificent structure. I made a mental note to return later for a more in-depth exploration. Interestingly, the basilica remains technically unfinished to prevent the end of the world.
So behind me is the Basilica, and there's a belief that if you finish it, then there's gonna be the apocalypse. And I believe this is because there were so many earthquakes in Quito that the earthquakes would destroy any of the churches. So therefore, the people decided to say that do not finish the churches because this will bring the apocalypse of the god, which just basically meant bringing earthquakes.
As we ventured deeper into Quito's historic center, we were surrounded by narrow streets flanked by stunning colonial and post-colonial architecture. The sight of colorful houses crawling up the hillside towards the statue of the Virgin Mary with wings was breathtaking. Our next destination was the Museo Camilo Egas. Egas is renowned for his contributions to modern art in Ecuador, with works reflecting themes of indigenous culture, social realism, and the suffering and beauty of the human experience. We then continued down the narrow streets for pedestrians even further towards the heart of Quito. Looking back from the path we came, you could see the skyline of Quito climb towards the sky, with the spires of the basilica metaphorically touching heaven. We paused at a charming Cafe Plaza built inside a traditional Spanish-style patio. Here we sampled Ecuadorian ice cream and caca de perro, literally dog poop, which are peanuts glazed in unrefined brown sugar. Eventually, we reached the heart of Quito, the Plaza de la Independencia. This bustling square is always alive with activity. Vendors selling delicious Ecuadorian snacks and novelty toys, tourists and backpackers marveling at the beautiful colonial and neoclassical architecture, and locals going about their day. The highlight was viewing the plaza from a nearby hotel restaurant, offering one of the best vantage points in the plaza. The sight of the giant red, blue, and yellow flag waving in the wind was truly picturesque.
So, quick video. Behind me is the Gran Plaza, the Grand Plaza. And this building right here is the Palacio del Gobierno, the government palace. So this is where the president lives. Over here we have another catedral. Once again, the Grand Plaza. And over there in the distance is Our Lady Virgin Maria.
We briefly passed by La Iglesia de la Compañía de Jesús, or the Church of the Society of Jesus. I made a mental note to return later to admire its beautiful Baroque architecture and interiors adorned with gold leaf. Our guide pointed out some interesting details, including Illuminati symbolism carved into the walls and a peculiar statue of a naked man with an oversized phallus, possibly representing rebellion against power and the church. A few minutes away, we stopped at Los Jugos de la Sucre, a hole-in-the-wall restaurant, to try a traditional Ecuadorian dish called Cevichochos. This unique concoction included a mix of fried corn, salted corn, boiled corn, popcorn, fried plantains, and various other ingredients. Our tour concluded at the Plaza San Francisco, the largest plaza in Quito. While our guide didn't elaborate much on this location, I later learned about its dark, repressive history. Before leaving, we indulged in some world-famous Ecuadorian chocolate tasting.
All right, we got Jonas.
Hey, what's up?
Where are you from, Jonas?
Germany.
We got
Beautiful girl, Germany.
Marie-Eve,
From best country in the world, Canada.
Canada. And
Best from the Netherlands.
Cas, as in C-A-S, from the Netherlands. And Leo, of course. And we are in Quito.
After the tour, I had formed a small social circle of new friends. We casually strolled back from the center of Quito towards the bus route on the outskirts, passing countless vendors and locals. Our faces full of massive smiles as we navigated the random narrow streets that Google Maps suggested to reach their hostel. Upon arriving, we immediately hopped into the next tour bus, heading 30 minutes outside of Quito to one of Ecuador's most touristy destinations. We arrived at the Mitad del Mundo, or the middle of the world, to find a climate noticeably different from Quito's valley.
All right, welcome to the center of the world. So behind me is the El Mitad del Mundo, which literally translates to the center of the world. And while this is a monument right here, the actual center of the world has already moved, so it's a little bit further over that way, if you can see with my finger. Nonetheless, the exact coordinates would be 000 somewhere over there, but we have a statue here, and supposedly the lowest point in gravity would be right here, right behind me, because the planet is like a bulge, like a football, so therefore there's less gravity acting on you the further up you go into space, right? So you're further out into space than you would be somewhere else.
Inside, the giant obelisk is adorned with various Ecuadorian dolls, trinkets, statues, toys, and paintings. We climbed to the top of the monument for another beautiful panorama of the surrounding Ecuadorian landscape.
Entonces, envío, espero que vayas bien, espero que te gusta. Salud.
Once outside again, it seemed fitting to engage in a little salsa dancing at the center of the world with a newfound friend.
¿Dónde estamos, amigos y amigas?
Pero bien.
No, ¿dónde estamos? ¿Dónde estamos?
¿Dónde estamos? Mitad del mundo.
Centro del mundo.
Muy bien.
Our final stop was the Intinyan Museum, which showcased pre-conquest historical pieces and some interesting Equator-related experiments. As we exchanged contact information on our way back to Quito, everyone was ready to relax, knowing that the next day would bring even more adventures. The following day, we would venture up to the giant statue of the Virgin Mary of the Apocalypse, ride through the streets of historic Quito, and eventually go on a day-long adventure on top of the mountain and volcano of Pichincha. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in Chapter 2 of this adventure. Leonidas here, and salud.